Aries, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying the season change. This is going to be your monthly reading for October. We're going to take a look at your past, your present, and your future, and as well a clarifier card at the end that is going to tie everything together and hopefully keep on theme for you as we head into October, okay? Let's shuffle these cards and see what Spirit has to say for you. Show me Aries, please. Show me Aries. Last time. Thank you. Okay. Interesting. So as I was shuffling the cards, I was seeing a lot of fire signs. So I'm like, oh, okay. Aries is here. That fire energy is here. And we're ready to go, gearing up for October here. It is interesting that in your past here, that energy is that King of Wands, right? Dominating, becoming the master of your suit, mastering that passion and knowing when to release that, when it's warranted and when it's kind of best to sit back and watch and observe, right? It's almost like this idea of, okay, we figured out where we're putting our energy. We're not just giving our energy into everything, everywhere all the time. Your present energy here is the Queen of Swords. So that does feel like that's that wisdom that we're looking at, or that wisdom that we've obtained here, right? Knowing when to hold back, knowing when to give more. And, you know, maybe there have been some hard lessons that you've learned recently, which in turn means some newly acquired wisdom that's allowing you to kind of embrace that idea of knowing when to give and take, and vice versa, right? King of Swords as the future energy here. It's interesting because it's more like head-on confrontation, right? More determining or opening your awareness. And this is Libra energy, right? So your sign opposite here, which is really quite interesting. It's kind of like we're turning away from, or there's this shift, maybe not turning away, but there is this shift into being like, what are we thinking, and becoming more the master of what we're thinking versus what we're doing, right? And not just kind of similar to, you know, that idea or that path of we're not going to give our energy or our passion to everything because not everything requires it. We don't need to dive headfirst all the time. It's kind of this idea that you can decide or determine what thoughts you give into and what thoughts aren't warranted or are old habits and old patterns, right? The moon is popping up in the shadow here. So, you know, this does kind of make sense because Libra is your shadow opposite, kind of shadow work here, addressing the inner, addressing what typically Aries doesn't like to address, which is the thought process, which is that, you know, let's stop and think as opposed to let's just go and do. So it really is quite interesting here, but we're going to go ahead and get some more clarification. Yeah, even here on the split, right? The double 9. So like this personal achievement and satisfaction, but underneath that, it's like we're hiding that doubt almost beneath that veil here. And it feels like perhaps for some of you for the month of October, it's this idea that we're looking beneath the veil. We're looking beneath the achievements and beneath what appears to be maybe to others and maybe even to that surface layer of yourself. You're kind of masking and saying, no, I've got it all together. But, you know, October might be the time where you're actually going further and you're saying, no, I want to look and see what is plaguing me. I want to look and see what's causing me this anxiety or what's been lingering for some time that I need to let go of, right? So, interesting. Let's get some more clarification here for Aries for October. Some more clarification, please, for Aries. Thank you. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so we've got some 10s on the board. So it does feel like there are some patterns coming to an end here, some cycles coming to a close, which is, I mean, we'll discuss all of it. Okay, so coming in to clarify that King of Wands, we've got the Page of Wands, the 10 of Pentacles, and the 6 of Pentacles. So it seems like, you know, yeah, you were looking and directing your energy and your effort into this idea of, okay, we're going to kind of cherry pick what we're spending our time, energy, and effort on, right? So it's this idea of, okay, I have a million things that I want to do, but what are the 2 core things that I really want, or where do I really want to focus my energy to get the maximum amount of effort, right? And kind of almost looking at your landscape here and looking at, okay, I've been successful at this already. I've been successful. I've gotten this far in life. Kind of, you know, being the driving force, being that Aries, being that cardinal sign, and doing what I need to do to get done. How can I take it that step further and really hone in on what it is that I really want to do, what it is that is really going to mean something for me? And that's where I'm seeing that 6 of Pentacles coming through with that 10 of Pentacles energy, kind of saying, okay, I'm going to take a look at my physical landscape and see what's working, but what do I really want to focus on? What do I really want to make happen here? And it's this idea of, you know, you've gotten to a place where you're really focusing on maybe 1 or 2 avenues or 1 or 2 ideas, and channeling your energy there and saying, okay, all of this other stuff doesn't matter, or we're removing all of this kind of clutter that sounds really good too or looks really good, but we're going to move that out of the way so that we can focus on what we really want to do, what Aries really wants to have happen, right? And so yeah, it kind of seems to be that this idea that you have done just that. You have removed obstacles that maybe didn't even look like obstacles, but this idea of, oh, you know, having this to-do list that's 10 miles long and saying, I want to do all of these things, but you have the time to maybe complete 5 of them, or to maximize your time and energy, you should only be doing a handful of these, right? So that's really what I'm seeing here within this past energy. It's like, okay, we've done the thing, we've cycled down our priority list here, and we're giving only to things that really matter, right? And that is, you're exerting that in your physical landscape here. So it's these things you are actually practically doing them, which is fantastic. To clarify here, the Queen of Swords, we have the 6 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, and the 3 of Swords here. So it does feel like you moved into some sort of, you were, you know, kind of riding high or sitting high, right? Continuing that 6 energy. Like, so you felt really good about what you have done in terms of cycling down and really narrowing down your focus here. And you're riding that a little bit, and perhaps like, hey, good on me, pat on back, like Aries, look at Aries, Aries is doing great. And you've kind of rode into a little bit of a difficult situation here. And that's why I'm saying, you know, that Queen is coming, she's kind of showing you or obtaining wisdom based on something that didn't really feel so good, right? So in this present energy, I'm really getting this idea of being stuck, or taking on, you had just got done working so hard on narrowing down your focus. And then certain things happened that, so yes, this idea that you're narrowing down your focus and really focusing your effort on the things that you really want to make happen here. And perhaps life threw you some curveballs or some things happened that you didn't expect, and you kind of travel down a road that is really not where you thought you were headed. And so there's a little bit of pain associated with that, a little bit of, oh my gosh, like you've kind of become overburdened when all you were trying to do was lighten your burden or lighten your load, and really become hyper focused on the tasks and the goals that really matter to you here. But in this kind of overwhelming state, or this kind of state where you do feel overburdened, maybe overwhelming isn't the right word, maybe it is for some, there is some wisdom to be gained here, right? And it's almost this idea of all this work doesn't just go away because, life has dealt you a little bit of a sour deal recently, right? Or you've kind of gotten to a place where you didn't really intend on being. There is a lesson here. And with that Queen of Swords showing up, it does feel like you are learning that lesson, or at least you're taking what you have learned from your past here, and you're understanding that this situation is temporary, this burden is temporary. While it feels overburdened and I feel exhausted, or I feel like I'm licking my wounds a little bit, or I feel lost, right? There's kind of, if you dig a layer deeper into that, I am getting this feeling that you're still on the move. And you're still aware of what priorities matter. You're still aware of your goal that you want to achieve. This feels, while it might be lingering, this energy a little bit longer than you would like, it does feel temporary, and it feels like, okay, we have to get through this in order to continue on. And with that moon energy that's here, that kind of vibe is similar to your present situation here, in that you know where you want to go, but the road isn't that clear, right? And so it really is, in your case, Aries, about the journey. You see that kind of destination, but right now you're definitely kind of going through it, in that it's not a crystal clear, we're going to do this and then do this and then do this and then do this. You're kind of getting sidetracked. But that is part of your journey, right? And so it kind of does feel like you're pivoting with this, even though the road forward is not ideal. Okay. Heading into this King of Swords energy into the future here, we have the Lovers, the Five of Cups, and the Tower. So it kind of feels, and the Knight of Pentacles here in the shadow with that Leo energy. Yeah, it feels like some trying times are coming with this, and it feels like perhaps what is exhausting you or having you feel overwhelmed is really kicking your butt a little bit. This is Scorpio energy here with that Five of Cups, and I do worry about getting stuck in what we've lost, or getting stuck in that idea of, I'm not where I want to be. I started off so good and look at where I am now, and I'm stuck in this path, and I can't move forward, right? I do worry about that energy. But also with the Lovers and the Tower here, it's kind of like the connection either to your soul. It doesn't feel soul bond. It really feels like your divine connection here. There is something that is shifting. right? And you're kind of continuing on in that journey. And I think the knowledge that you've relied on has changed. I don't think you're at the point where it's changing, like you're coming up to the point where it's changing. I think that by kind of cycling down or narrowing down your focus, you have kind of changed, right? Again, there's more of a thought process before, like you're thinking before you act. And you've already been doing that, but with kind of being stuck in a place that you don't really want to be, or it feels like you're lingering there for too long, or no movement is really happening. It's showing here that your energy is feeling stuck, or you're feeling kind of lost in the sauce a little bit, like lost, like this, like just really frustrated about the current circumstances, right? But with this King of Swords, it's almost saying like, yes, this change and this disruption is kind of happening, or it will be happening in your future, Aries, but it's kind of a lesson in disguise here, because your thought process has changed. So what I'm seeing here is that there is this disruption, there is this kind of stagnation here. Perhaps you're not feeling as strongly connected to source as you have in past, but I think that is because this new wisdom, or this kind of slowing down and thinking and getting more intellectual and embracing that, is changing your foundation and is bringing about that tower. And so it's not necessarily that your connection is getting disrupted or your connection is lost, say. It's more so that you're finding a new way to connect, right? And kind of honing that skill of leveling up that connection as opposed to being disconnected. And the reason it feels off is because life probably hasn't been going your way a little bit, but in that there is the lesson and a deeper connection to source. I really hope that makes sense. Knight of Pentacles in the shadow here. Yeah, stagnation, right? And it feels like there's a level of planning, or there's a level of sitting and waiting for something, right? That level of excitement is still there, but it's this idea of slow, consistent progress, which is still progress, right? But this idea that perhaps for you, Aries, you're not doing as much, or you're not seeing as much of the result as you would like to, and that's frustrating you. But in that, it's really allowing you this ability to slow down and think about or fine tune the details of what it is that you really want to see, right? So really getting specific of where are we going next? What are we doing next? What does that look like for me? What does it feel like for me, right? So while the whole plan might not be known, what you're really getting hyper focused about where your energy is going and what you would like to happen, as opposed to kind of falling into these different kind of side plots, right? And going off on a whim in all these directions. You're picking and choosing where you're directing your energy and why, right? Aries being in control, which is always the case, but also Aries having the power to say no to themselves for the betterment of their movement and progress forward, right? So let's go ahead and see any final thoughts for Aries heading into the month of October. Any final thoughts? For Aries, please. Thank you. Swords. I had a feeling. All right. So here we've got, to clarify the past, we've got the King of Pentacles for the future. That Queen of Swords, we've got the Knight of Wands. And for the King of Swords, we have the Eight of Cups, right? So again, very fitting energies, right? Your past saying you are successful, right? That part is clear. You have been successful. This is not about attaining success in one aspect of life or another. What I'm seeing, and again, take this as it resonates, you are already successful. You have already mastered something. This is about taking it that step further, right? For example, you've either graduated school, or you have a very successful career. This is about propelling you to that next phase, right, of major growth and prosperity. And that's what I'm seeing. You're fine-tuning because you've already done, at least in this particular topic or this particular subject, you've already acquired the success. So now we're leveling up, okay? With the Knight of Wands here, this does feel like a reminder, okay? This Page of Wands, we have the Knight of Wands here. You have the ability to, direct your passion and your energy in a positive way, positive or negative, right? You have that ability to manifest that energy from within you, literally make fire from within, right? So this Knight of Wands here, it's almost like, where are you directing that energy? Build it up within you and go full bore or full steam ahead, right? And don't let this kind of period of stagnation or period of overwhelm or kind of getting sidetracked into, well, I really wanted to focus on this, but I have to deal with this, and kind of putting out fire. Don't let life and these setbacks discourage you, because it's still a part of your path. And in staying positive, first of all, you have the ability to stay positive, and you have the ability to control where you lead your energy or what energy you lean into, right? But also, it's very much this idea of don't get, don't get discouraged, because this is all part of it. This is all part of the journey, the lesson, right? And that's what I'm feeling here with this Knight of Wands. It's like, okay, we're going to keep going. But we're going to keep going in a way that truly matters to Aries. Not in a way that, we're getting sidetracked. We're really focusing on this next level of mastery because it really matters to us. Okay? With the Eight of Cups here, such a great summation for this energy coming to you, right? Because it's this idea that within the lessons that you're learning and within all of these distractions that are coming through, you're realizing that part of you needs to be left behind in order to level up and acquire that next level of mastery where you want to go, where you are directing your energy. You need to leave part of you behind to go off and continue into that unknown where you want to be, where you will gain further success, right? So with this energy here, it's this idea that yes, you can become frustrated or look at everything that, is keeping you where you are, right? And keeping you focusing on all of these distractions here, but really in being sidetracked and managing and deciding, thinking about where you're going to go and what you're going to do, you're embodying that Eight of Cups. You're embodying, what am I controlling? What am I continuing on with? And what am I leaving behind? You are cherry picking what you want for you, where you want to go, where you see yourself. And this Tower is happening, and you might feel disconnected because you're going into a place that you haven't been before. But really what feels like a disconnect is more higher alignment, if that makes sense. Ace of Swords here, right? We're embracing on new knowledge, new perspective here, right? So this Tower here, it's shaking up things that need to be released in order to obtain that next level of mastery, right? So it does make sense. Just feels a little turbulent and a little more stagnant, or a little slower than you would like, Aries. We're going to flip over this card here, the World. Yeah, that's a beautiful card to kind of tie everything in here, right? Because a cycle very much does feel like it is ending here, right? This idea of, you know, perhaps it's even the idea of getting frustrated that things aren't moving as quickly as you would like, or getting frustrated that life keeps throwing you curveballs, but also the acceptance that life will always throw us curveballs, and life moves at its own pace. The world moves at its own pace. The wheel, right? If that came up, goes at its own pace, and we can't control anything other than ourselves and our thoughts and our reactions to things that occur, right? And we have to remain grounded in that. And it feels like whatever this work is that you had done on picking and choosing what you give your energy to is really, you're kind of internalizing it. And that Tower is coming about because you're picking and choosing what you focus on inside and what you tell yourself and where you want to be. And so fine-tuning that direction both externally but internally as well. And so it feels a little rocky and it feels disjointed, but that's elevating you to your next level of mastery, right? So really, really lovely energy here, although it might not seem it. It feels like one of those things where it's, you know, you'll look back on this and you'll say, oh, okay, yeah, this was all really worth something. But right now it feels like it's taking a lot of determination, a lot of positive self-talk, a lot of keeping yourself grounded and keeping the task at hand, right? Keeping your eye on the prize here. Discrimination, 24. Let's see. Oh, courage, 32. All right. Highlighting distinctions has nothing to do with comparing. True discrimination is quite different to mere comparison. To discriminate means to prefer good to evil, right to wrong, and the spiritual path to a meandering one leading astray. This requires quiet deliberation, kindness of heart, and also a mental effort. To compare means labeling one thing as better than the other, evaluating and separating. The infinitely loving nature of the angels does not judge. Yet there might be one wish or another not being fulfilled because there is one more selfish than selfless being thought behind it. You might like to ponder what constitutes evaluation and what constitutes true discrimination. Interesting. 32, courage. Courage is the best friend to purify your being. Courage is often associated with performing a special act, jumping out a plane with a parachute, or climbing a peak are popular dares in our time. It takes true courage, however, to face your own weaknesses, to ask where the small and large dramas are hidden in your own personality. To admit that it is jealousy that consumes me or envy that I feel because someone else has so much more than me takes real courage. Unacknowledged character traits, those shadow parts in you, do not make it easier for the angels to guide and bless you. Which volcano is seething inside you? Very interesting, right? It's that idea of shadow work and bringing to the surface those things that we normally don't talk about or acknowledge within ourselves, right? And that's what feels is coming to the surface. And I feel like that's why this is so frustrating. But just a final thought here, Aries, I feel like it's daunting for you because of past actions or past perspective. But, and please let me know in the comments if this challenge and this tower that is coming to you in October, if it comes and it's not as burdensome as you thought it to be, right? Or that you were prepared for. Because I really feel like that this change has already happened in you, Aries, but it's coming to the surface. You're becoming aware of it. And with this tower, yes, it might be, doom and gloom and all these things, but I feel like it will be less of that energy than you are preparing yourself for. Okay? Let me know. I always enjoy reading with you, Aries, and I really hope that you appreciate this reading. Please let me know in the comments. I'm so curious, and I wish you all the best. You take care.